Welcome back to Sonic and the Secret Rings. Oh boy, a talking head.
Might be a little late.
I should say so.
Hey, you better keep your head on your shoulders there.
It's the cap attack.
Losing to such a lame villain is no way to get ahead in life.
Yeah, don't you lose your head over it,
That friggin' face. Look at Sonic.
There's something very classic Sonic about that face.
Well, it looks very Felix the Catty.
That's, yeah, I agree.
Just that shit-eating grin is great.
Sonic discovered private browsing.
Yeah, when you notice their browser history.
Sonic just entered incognito mode. Oh yeah, turn it off!
Ah, yeah, this is happening.
The CIA will never find me now.
Sonic asks to borrow Tails' phone.
Start swiping through his pictures. So you know what that means in this game. Whenever you get to the goal stage, do a bunch of random missions that somehow progress the plot.
Absolutely.
And so this mission is to get all of Solomon's bones, which are all the same bone. So, okay.
Oh, what's it
very
called?
Nightmare
What's
on
that
Elm
game?
Street.
The Nightmare on Christmas.
No, Nightmare
on
Elm
Street.
Street.
Oh,
Nightmare on Christmas.
Christmas.
More on Christmas.
Oh, I just had a nightmare. Merry Christmas.
Oh boy, presents!
The shortest movie ever made.
Or no, I'm just imagining a Nightmare on Elm Street, but it's Jack Skellington instead of Freddy Krueger. And instead of being threatening, he's just singing songs in everyone's street.
And why? That is my favorite. Seriously, that is my honest to God. That's my favorite moment in Nightmare Before Christmas during the song "What's This." There's a moment where, and I'm not sure because Danny Elfman wrote the songs and he sings it. I'm not sure why either he decided or was directed to. But there's a moment where he goes, "And why?" And it's the fucking funniest thing in the world to me.
Look how hard it is to do the simplest of tasks. You're just trying to homing one thing.
Yeah, you have to kill 40 enemies in order to, because they're each carrying something. But if you notice, I hit a raised platform with a numeral 1 on it. And here's number 1 with number 2. You have to hit all of them to unlock the paths to actually hit all the enemies.
Yeah.
So not only do you have to kill all the enemies, you have to somehow explore and be precise with these things. It's like, ugh.
And that's terrible.
Yep. Thanks, Charles.
Wow. This place
In fact, that path was completely pointless because all it did was get us a fire
So
salt.
this is why they call it the Skeleton Dome.
now you can play more mini games though.
Oh boy. Teddy, you gonna come to my house and want to play multiplayer with me?
I mean,
I think one of these rings, if you hold on and long enough, you get the big cameo.
Maybe.
It's one of these rings.
No,
if you stay inside it for too long, it will zoom in on big.
something like
so
that.
bizarre. Yeah.
Clement, did you go out of your way to watch Big in every stage, or?
Yeah, I tried to find him for my extra video, so I had to track down every single thing. And the thing is, I haven't really played Secret Rings since that Let's Play. Yes, I am. But I haven't played this since that Let's Play, so like there are so many things that I couldn't tell you from memory what happens or how to do things, because it's like, once I've finished with it, it's just out of my head. I don't want to think about this game ever again, you know?
Okay, so just I know that Big the Cat cameos were also in SA2, right? They were taken out of battle, weren't they?
They were taken out of the initial battle release.
Okay, wait, so there was by the later battle.
For like the
GameCube.
PC version and stuff.
Okay.
Go back
Yeah, in the GameCube version of Battle, the big cameos were removed.
Kind
Okay,
of, because there's still like this thing
There are
where
a
you
few
can
in
mash
there.
the A button during cutscenes, and when you mash the A button during cutscenes, sometimes Big will pop into some of them. So
What?
like,
I thought they were also taken out of those in Battle.
no,
as
they're in
well.
the GameCube version for sure.
They're still in the
Yeah.
GameCube version? Okay, I know that like the in-game big cameos were taken out.
Yeah, like the stage ones were definitely taken out, but the cutscene ones are still in the GameCube version.
I guess they just couldn't take those out for programming reasons.
That'd be my guess.
Yeah, but they were re-implemented in the HD port.
I love showing those cutscenes to people who have seen those cutscenes before, but they don't know about the big thing. So like, I'll mash A, and then like, Amy's gonna meet up with Shadow to talk about the space colony and stuff, and then Big walks right by Amy, and it's like, what, whoa!
Yeah.
What was that?
How did he get here?
Is he masturbating?
Now you
Froggy.
seem big with that. You
I
seem
mean,
big
same,
with that
but-
smile.
My favorite thing, similar to that, my favorite Dreamcast version of SA1. If you would press the kind of move Sonic, so I remember specifically, if you let the demo run in the game, the first after he defeats Gamma, and he goes to run. If you start fucking around with the N and R triggers, Sonic will be facing sideways, but then he'll still run the same way, and it's like it's a really like weird glitch in the game.
So like he's running in place, but he's moving sideways towards Gamma.
Place is huge.
So this is what
No. It's like so he still runs the way he goes, but when the camera pans to he's to the left. But then so he'll be like in his little like standard pose, but then his body would just awkwardly jerk and run forward. Just like
Yeah, okay. My mind says no, my body says yes.
Gamma, wait!
Get down. Oh, we completed the mission. Okay.
If they
Yay.
ever remake that game, I want an option where either the original like animations and voice clips are used, or they just have the original cast do a pitch perfect recreation, just so we could have Roger Craig Smith going, Amy. Woo.
I mean, on the other hand, that would mean we would get Mike Pollock to actually try to be, sinister Eggman for once.
look at this.
So like
Yeah,
hypothetically,
You know that, yeah, that'd be pretty interesting.
so like hypothetically, if they do a Sonic Adventure remake, would you want the dialogue to be copied verbatim exactly as it was in the original game?
I think if they want to bank on that nostalgia completely, they kind of need to. You
So
know,
the game has to start
because-
off.
Because we're at a point where I think everybody, if you're a fan of the adventure games, you like them warts and all. You know, and to tamper with that, I feel would lose some of its appeal.
I'm not sure if every line, but I think you'd have to keep like, yeah, this is happening. Like I think there are those few lines of like, you fool away before I make mincemeat out of you, or like this ship is losing altitude. I think there's a handful of like lines. Shit, I will kill everyone on this planet.
The only thing I request they keep if an adventure remake will ever have, and it will. Let's be real here.
Is Sonic bathing in the showers?
No,
and shit
no.
all this?
Well, okay, all right.
Yeah, wash yourself.
The second thing needs to be, so this must be the Skydeck, huh? While turning into
Yes.
There's literally a place called Scott, and I tried to do a selfie video where I turned around like that, but it didn't quite work. This must be the Skydeck, huh? Just like-
Oh wait, no. What you need to do is like put on a pair of rollerblades, so your legs don't really move much, where you can kind of swivel yourself around, but then like film yourself from like the shins up. So that's like the Skydeck, just like lean backwards.
Well, like, Johnny, we need that one, and we also need the bit where I think it's from Amy's point of view, when you go into, when she runs into Twinkle Park, where as Sonic goes, oh man, I'm good at such a paint hits across the leg. It's same tracks, like melodies, just like redone? Or would you want just the same soundtrack? Or an option for both?
If the track's got the Generations treatment for like the entire thing, I'd be fine with that.
I feel like if you did a remake like that and you didn't redo the soundtrack, that'd be. I wouldn't. I think that like obviously, I think there should be an option to keep the old soundtrack, but
Yes.
I feel like you kind of need to remix it if you want.
But you see, it's really weird. Like with SA1, sure, maybe you can argue that because, you know, the Dreamcast was already a time beyond where we didn't have to rely on, like, MIDI compositions to warrant a remix. You know, because to me, honestly, I would see more of a need to remaster SA1's music more than SA2 because SA2 is already high quality.
You just admitted SA2 had a better soundtrack. Woo! Go Ted.
Yes, because the way, no. From a one soundtrack was recorded on like analog tape or something. It was recorded in a less technically clean format than like SA2 onwards. That's why I want to say for one of the Crush 40 like I think recently they released that album that like Passion and Pride, the adventure era vocal tracks, and from what I understand, they went back and they kind of remastered all of the vocal songs. But from what I understand, like I think somebody asked if that would happen with the entire soundtrack. And I think I may be misquoting this, so if I am, forgive me. But I want to say June Snow was just kind of like that's like too expensive. Like we can't do the whole soundtrack. We're just gonna do the songs to make.
Well, not to mention SA1's soundtrack was still, for the most part, heavily synth based.
Yeah.
Or, like using like keyboards and
which that's not that's not necessary. I don't think that in and of itself is
No, it's not a bad thing. I still think SA1 has the better soundtrack overall.
Yeah, but you didn't say it was high quality,
SA2,
so.
Well, I was more talking about.
Well, you didn't. No, you didn't say that. You have legally said it's higher quality.
Legally,
I like legally said.
Your Honor.
No, but SA2, you no Exhibit A, Sonic Adventure 2. So.
Your Honor, please refer to this LP where my client clearly says SA2.
You know, SA2 they use pretty much real guitars, drums, you know, all that sort of thing to compose that soundtrack, and it's pretty obvious just in sound quality. SA1 was like one of the last 3D Sonic games to use nothing but synths.
Well, no, I mean, like the like guitars and basses and all that are still all real.
You sure? Because
I guarantee you because
I listened to my point of reference is like Emerald Coast for an example. Compare the original Dreamcast composition to the Generations mix.
Well, again, I think some of that it might just be because, again, technically speaking, the Generations remix or kind of like cover is just the soundtracks, and it'll say like it'll only list. If he's play blah blah blah, drums blah 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 blah, but like basically in SA1, any instrument that's not like a guitar or a bass or a drums or in some cases a piano is kind of synthesized, and it was like that up until I want to say 06. May have been the first time where in context of a level, if it was for a level or a boss theme, they use real instruments for everything except for like Solaris Phase 2, and still to this day, like even something like Forces, in a lot of the cutscenes, it is that kind of low quality Sega fake synth. But if it's an actual like level or a boss track, Sega will typically spend the money to get real instruments for everything. Here endeth the lesson. But to go back to that though, the one thing I would say in terms of, and also one thing, which again, Ted, I'll give, I still think SA1's better, but one thing SA2 has over SA1 is individual music tracks. SA1 just has those kind of 5 stock, like sadness, happiness, strain, those like 5 stock, like those like 5 stock cutscene tracks, which don't always work in context of the scene they're being played over. But it was like you would normally either hear one of those stock like cutscene tracks or just a instrumental character theme, and that was like the cutscene tracks for SA1. So part of the reason why I would like to have SA1 remixes, because I'm sure June Chenoy and everyone would go back and make original cutscene tracks, and just more original music I'm all for.
I'm still here.
Oh no!
The question is, though, is how much would you like veer in that different direction for the sake of delivering a better quality product.
I think SA1 would need more changes than an SA2 remake. I feel honestly.
Agreed. Yeah.
I mean, are we still talking about the music or the game? Because I feel
just the game
overall.
in general. Like, what do you tweak in the remakes?
you make them not glitchy. To be fair.
No, but we're talking about like how much do you tweak in the remakes before you make it a completely different game than what people are expecting.
Well, I mean, like, I feel like you can't get rid of something like the adventure field from SA1 or
No.
Big or, It's
It's like, would you guys mind, and this goes for everyone watching too, would you guys mind if it was just the insane, like, treatment, where it's just the same game, but it looks a lot better, and the controls are more homogenized, so
I mean,
that they're similar.
Obviously under the assumption that, the games actually, function better, they're not buggy messes. I wouldn't mind it. I think SA1, from a gameplay and level design standpoint, needs more tweaking. Like, can we give Knuckles levels more unique things to do than just being chunks of Sonic levels?
Yes.
Things like that. Like, you can keep the general level design the same, but for, say, like, Knuckles' first level, give him more stuff to do with on top of the buildings. Or something.
I mean, ultimately, if you're remaking the game, I think you probably aren't going to be changing anything. I mean, granted, these tiny changes are going to make people, go into a frenzy because this is the fan base where if you have a different type of brick on the ground and at the beginning of Casinopolis or whatever, people lose their mind because, oh no.
They have to go back to the train station not being brick. They have to go back to the Dreamcast sections.
I mean, granted, I think, like, for the most part, it's just going... they should... I mean, I think that, like, obviously they should make improvements, but ultimately, people want those games remade because people like them, Like John said, warts and all. And I feel like, ultimately, you're making those games as a proof of concept that the adventure formula could come back in some way anyway.
I still say there are some general tweaks you can do. Like, you can make Amy faster for the sake of her levels.
Oh, I agree with that, but I feel like major level design changes or structure changes aren't going to happen. That's just okay. Now they are going to happen apparently because I'm apparently cursed or something.
Well, again, it depends. Well, no, I mean, I guess it does depend. I mean, like, if they go for the insane version, which, I mean, it is technically speaking, those are remakes, but they function more like remasters where they're striving to be as accurate as possible. It depends if they go for the insane, which I think what was the bullshit thing Activision said? Enhanced remaster, I think was the technical term they called those things. It depends if they go for one of those or a honest to god remake like Ratchet and Clank. Oh yeah.
Or like Resident Evil 1 and 2.
Yeah, exactly. It depends. Which I think which. Did anyone see I saw a video on this rumor a while back which said apparently, and this again, take this with the biggest grain of salt because I'm sure by the time this video is up, this has already been disproven as complete bollocks. But I saw this video I feel like a month or so ago where this guy, there's a leak on Reddit, which right there, ignore. But I guess Sega would apparently toying with the idea of releasing SA1, but it's kind of like there's an honest to god remake and then there's a remaster on this in the same disc. And I'm like that idea is such a good idea. There is literally no way Sega have thought of it. So it's
the remaster though. I wouldn't be surprised if it was just the HD port.
Wait, Clement, didn't Mega Man Powered Up do that where they had the new version with like the new bosses and stuff, and then they had basically a much more faithful version of the original Mega Man, but just with the new graphics or something like that?
Yeah, because Mega Man Powered Up, it's a remake of the original game, but there's a lot of stuff where you can play as the Robot Masters. They added 2 more because Oil Man, Time Man. But there's new style mode, which has the cutscenes and the new stages with the new Robot Masters, and then there's old style mode, which has no Time Man, has no Oil Man, and they actually go back to certain properties that the weapons had that they don't have in the remake, like in the new version. They make Elecman's weapon overpowered in old style mode the way it was in the NES game, but it's been tweaked and adapted in the new style mode where you don't get as much of it and it doesn't just like dominate everything.
It's been nerfed. Damn you, Capcom.
So like, they actually did try to be very accurate with how it handles certain enemies. Like some enemies wouldn't get blowback in old style, but they do in new style, and they did actually tweak that kind of stuff. So it does feel like the NES game, only with this 2.5D kind of aesthetic, you know?
That's cool. I mean, in terms of the remaster, Johnny, I mean, I'm not sure how Sega would go about this, but like, just get the guys who did the Perfect Dreamcast mod for SA1, you know, it's like...
I mean, there's precedent for them getting people who aren't Sega to do these sorts of things.
To me, honestly, besides it being just a great game, that's one of my favorite things about Sonic Mania, is that it shows Sega, or Sonic Team or Sega, that, hey, there is merit in hiring people who do this sort of shit for passion, because they make really good games and they know what they're doing. You know, and I feel that can also hold true for the 3D games as well. It'd probably be trickier, granted.
Well, that's I think mostly just because due to tech, people have been modding Adventure less amount of time. You know,
it's like, and because I now more than ever, especially, I see people like kind of like poke fun at those that attempt to take something like Sonic 06 and put it in Unity, and it's like they release like tech demos of Sonic going through Kingdom Valley, and it's like, oh, what's the point if you're gonna do that? It's like, the point is that they demonstrate that they can do that. So that means if these guys were ever to like work on something official, it'd be like a walk in the park, and they know the ins and outs of how this engine works, and they can make something really solid. That's the point. That's why I get excited about those sort of things.
But could they pick like a not Sonic 06 game?
I mean, name me one Sonic game that needs something like that more than any other game in the franchise.
Labyrinth.
Sonic Labyrinth? Technically, Sonic 3D Blast is a better Labyrinth.
Secret Rings! Bring it back, buddy! Secret Rings!
Booyah! Let's bring it back for a second. I'm bored again. 06. 06 more than any other game in the franchise.
George, you
is one
should
of those
06
games that
apologies.
everybody always says this should have gotten a PC release so that at least fans could at least fuck with
I
it.
mean,
You know?
honestly though, like I feel like there's not that much. Like Jank side, I feel like there's just not enough there to salvage. You know.
I'm also of the thing that horse is dead.
Oh
It's
no, I
beaten.
agree. Yes.
Like, it is that
Bojack's
it's like
dead.
I heard there Sonic 06 is a terrible piece of game. Yeah, never forget. But also, can we move on? Basically, is where I'm at that point.
So what you're saying is there'll be a redo game next year.
Can we?
Johnny, you're
No.
asking Sonic fans to move on. What are you, crazy?
I just, but I am excited for like what fans that demonstrate what they can do with it, because because of Sonic Mania, it means that there is likely a chance that they see that and get those folks on board for this, whatever they have in store for next time.
Isn't it kind of sad though that we have absolutely zero faith in Sega to make a good game with their own character though?
I think it's just the. I should probably say this one.
Short answer, yes. Long answer, yes. But seriously, yes, it is sad. Bye.